Hello, and welcome to the War in the Pacific, where it is the 21st of January, 1942, in the Wirraway versus Encircled Slave by Mail campaign. Today we should see the invasion, hopefully successful this time, of Kopang, our first major attack on Singapore after our divisions made the initial crossing, and whatever else the turn has in store for us. So it looks like a APD. Okay. So I've cited a couple APDs before in the South Pacific. So got a fast transport task force landing at Jesselton. Want to establish an airbase, small airbase there to patrol off the northern tip of Borneo, just to make sure he's not sneaking any other small transports from North Borneo into the Philippines. So it's a small special naval landing force unit and a J&F company. Okay, so good news. Our invasion task force makes it to Kopang uninterdicted. You may recall the remnants of the ABD showed up in our previous attempt and drove off our task force with significant losses. We lost about a battalion and a half of Japanese infantry during that particular episode. Not this time, however, it appears. So, key difference here is it took the time to establish air search, naval search at Roite and Dili to make sure enemy task forces weren't lurking within 500 miles or so where they could rush in. Previously had gone in almost blind to what was south of Timor. Turned out to be a mistake. Pretty decent sized XAP in the Cook Islands. This was also the direction that APD was heading. So it looks like he's trying to either he fled there or he's in the process of establishing a base there or both. The AP Santa Maria, I think, is done for. Yep. Typical sweeps ahead of bomber strikes, trying to slow the 1st Burma Division's escape so we can eventually catch up with her. bombing at Marouin. We won't make a significant attack at Marouin today, but tomorrow, the 22nd, our forces will be ready. Betty's going in unopposed, trying to bring the 1st Burma Division to a crawl. Sure why I was sweeping my own. Ah, it's still an enemy base, that's why. Uh, I was anticipating the possibility that he would put up cap, but he didn't. Must not be anything important left in Prom, or he didn't want to face the swoops. So our Air Force in China is striking in his operational depth, trying to both damage the airfield and impact these 4 that are ostensibly in reserve. Weather is really impacting our success here. Attacks on these 4 in the open right next to Hangzhou. Airfield suppression. Against severe storms. Sally's hit the defenders at Kopang on Timor. Airfield suppression at Singapore at high altitude, just trying to keep him from rebuilding any forts. So Sonia's are trying to slow the advance of Burma Command to see if we can keep it from escaping the heck. Probably not. So B-17Ds and a few E models flying out of Clark Field, striking the airfield. Not. Were they striking the airfield? Yeah, it looks like a ground attack. I, I have a unit of Zeros recovering their, uh, repairing their tired airframes at Takayo. Uh, if he had attacked the airfield and damaged or destroyed some of those airplanes, that would have had more impact on my future operations. Because I need those airframes back to, um, some reasonable level of fatigue for the upcoming operations on Luzon. Because I suspect he will have. I know. I know he's got some dive bombers, Army dive bombers that he moved into Luzon a few turns ago. He attacked one of my task forces mostly unsuccessfully with them. So I know he's got dive bombers. I know he's going to have at least P-40Bs. And so when we do try to land on Luzon within the next week or so, we'll need adequate fighter cover. What? You say I'm landing on Luzon after bypassing it? Yes, I'm going to land with 3 divisions. I've bought out 3 veteran divisions and try to drive him back into Clark, um, and take Manila. And then we'll bring in uh, some inexperienced divisions to sit on him for a while, and eventually, when his supplies are low, assault. But I won't assault Clark in the short run. Just too many casualties result from that ×3 terrain. And there's no need for me at this point. If I can drive him back into Clark and then suppress the airfield, uh, it has little impact on my future operations. In fact, it's not having a lot of impact now. I do want to deny him the supply production at Manila. Okay, first major attack at Singapore. Let's see how we go. Looks good. The Australian, both the Australian brigades are combat and effective. We got close to a 3-to-1. Reduce the forts to 2, which is good. Very good ratio of disablements and destroyed to him. So they Singapore probably might fall in the next attack. We'll see. 7th and the 84th still holding out along the rail line. This is not impacting anything I am trying to do. Down to 309 raw AV. At Suva, he'll be down to about 50 raw AV. And with the arrival of reinforcements, uh, we should see just about the end of organized Dutch resistance here in our next attack, which should be tomorrow. Okay, all that was left was a Burma Rifles Battalion. Interesting, reporting 8 disabled squads from his bombardment attack. I wouldn't think any of these units have much artillery, so I'm suspicious. We'll take a look at the units and see what the actual results were. Speeding through the end of the turn. Okay, let's take a quick look around. Solutions are quiet at the moment. Be ready to attack here. Supplies are good. fatigue levels are good. We'll be ready to attack here again tomorrow. So waiting on reinforcements there. Our artillery and reinforcements for our southern attack are beginning to arrive at Kukong. They're railing from Hengyang, and we're going to attack Wuchao, and then Luchao. Cut the rail line here. He likes to rail his ABG and forth between Tujun and Quellen. Also want to deny him the supply production from both these sites, and Nanning also, even though our main effort remains in the north. Way up north, nothing in Hami, so we'll take Hami next turn as our units slowly assemble. Nice to have that level 3 airfield. So he's still probably at least 24 miles ahead of us. But we're making up time, and he doesn't really have anywhere to run. So I think I'm optimistic we'll be able to run down the 1st Burma Division long before it gets into the ×3 terrain up here. We'll check our units at Singapore. 21st Division, it's pretty good shape. 38th, very good shape. 18th, very good shape. 33rd, good shape. So it's these in it was the regiments of the 2nd Division. They're still broken down that took this is typical of the Gary Gigshui game engine. It took most of the beating. That's okay. And the 5th Division is recovering rapidly. It did not participate in the attack, but might be ready for the final assault. As I indicated, we're ready for what could be the final assault against Madoin and the last remaining major source of Dutch resistance. He does have troops in Surabaya, but they're mostly headquarter units, etc. So with the arrival of 148th Infantry Regiment, we'll go ahead and attack, even though our fatigue levels are a little high. I think he's at the breaking point based on the results of the last 2 attacks. Looks like we did successfully land. Hooray. I don't see any sign of the disablements that were reported in the combat report from bombardment. So we'll go ahead and attack there, though this fight will likely take a little while. There's no rush to conclude it. What is going on is we're beginning operations in the Sulu Sea as our units on Mindanao consolidate, take Panay, and we'll move on to southern Luzon. It's not our major force units. Our 3 divisions plus will come in from the north. Let's check. So recon is showing ships in ports, but no troops here. We're going to invade Tonga Atukua and reinforce Kafua this next turn. He has destroyers, even though it says PGs, he has destroyers off Horn Island trying to chase down this fast transport task force. But in fact, destroyer Squadron 31 is there waiting for them. So we might see a battle next turn. Meanwhile, fast transport's continuing to deliver supplies to Natty. And our invasion task force heading to Port Moresby has formed up and will cut a light carrier from the KB to cover that because we don't have any built up air bases from which to use land based air. So light carrier will serve. Light, I wanted originally to take Horn Island at the same time, but I've retasked those units. They're operating down here now to take Tonga Island, and we have more reinforcements coming for the mission at Horn Island, probably a week and a half, 2 weeks away. We'll see how the fight at Port Moresby goes. We have a division minus to do it with. I don't have a full division ready to commit, but anticipate that we can get Port Moresby done with the forces available. Don't have much reserve at the moment. The Khmer detachment is about all I have. That's part of the 33rd Infantry Regiment, and it was the Mura detachment, which was destroyed essentially on transports when we made our original attempt to invade Kopang. It has been bought out and is now sitting at Tokyo, training up, and will rejoin Mur Detachment and reform the 33rd Infantry Regiment as our available reserve in the coming weeks. But right now, I don't have any major reserves in theater. All forces are committed or are about to be committed. Not an ideal situation. There is risk of having essentially just 2 battalions as your theater reserve, but I do have my carriers and fast battleships still here to provide an offensive punch or a defensive counterstroke if needed. Anyway, right now everything is developing pretty smoothly. We've rearmed and refueled in the Indian Ocean. It's been a tricky operation. The most difficult part of keeping our carriers and our fleet operating in the Indian Ocean has been the logistics strain. But they're rearmed or they're refueled. Rearming hasn't been an issue because they haven't had a lot of targets, but they're ready to continue operations. And I'll just check in on what happened in terms of aircraft losses. I lost a Tina, a Jake. Oh, yeah. The Nate's, there were enough Nate's airborne that they managed to shoot down one B-17B. So he continues to use his B-17s liberally. Anyway, I look forward to our next chance to talk.